What is this bill? This is the Online Safety Bill and looks to ensure the security of online content. The bill was gazetted on the 15th of September 2023. The objectives of the new law were to prohibit the communication of certain statements online, to prevent the use of online methods for prohibited purposes, and to suppress false statements or propaganda about certain incidents. According to the bill published in the Gazette, a 5-person commission appointed by the President can decide whether any online statement is false. They have the power to ban any online content which they deem as false. This commission also gets the power to order internet service providers to prevent, disable, or remove any statement made online. The commission appointed by the President can enter any place, inspect, fine, and prosecute. The bill was challenged in the Supreme Court by a number of parties. The Attorney General presented to the court a number of amendments to be made in Parliament regarding the original bill, and the court permitted for the bill to be passed by a simple majority, subject to those amendments. But serious criticisms were continuously leveled in relation to this bill, and those parties emphasized that the right of the people are being violated by this. The bill and its amendments were presented to the Parliament's Sectoral Oversight Committee on Media, Youth, Heritage and New Citizen yesterday, and it was later reported that the committee approved the bill, subject to the amendments presented by the Supreme Court. When the Online Safety Bill was prepared to be debated in Parliament today, the main point raised by the opposition was that the discussion in the Sectoral Monitoring Committee was insufficient. Thus, several parties of the opposition emphasized that the debate should be postponed. The opposition pointed out that the report of the Sectoral Oversight Committee, that only consisted of 1 page, is a grossly insufficient report on the bill. Standing Order number 50 stipulates that once the first reading of the bill is concluded, the bill must be forwarded to the Sectoral Oversight Committee, and the bill cannot be taken up for the second reading without the report of the Sectoral Oversight Committee first being submitted to Parliament. The opposition stressed that this process has not been properly followed with the Online Safety Bill.
Where
is that report? Standing orders clearly say that no action can be taken without the report. We ask you to please stop the action immediately and take a more optimal and constitutional action regarding this, as today's debate was against the standing orders and the constitution. How can we debate properly when we have no knowledge about these amendments?
මේ සංශෝධන පිළිබඳව අපිට කිසිම දැනුමක් නැහැ.
වගන්ති එකින් එක සැලකීමට භාජනය.
The Sectoral Oversight Committee must submit a complete report with substance to the Parliament after considering each clause carefully. The Parliament cannot take any action regarding it until this report is submitted to Parliament.
ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් කිසිම පියවරක් ගැනීමට පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට පුළුවන් කමක් නැහැ.
ඒ එක්කම දැන් මේ සංශෝධන තමුන්
You table the amendments along with this just now. We only have it in English. Where is the Tamil translation? We need time to study how these amendments are compatible with the Supreme Court ruling, but we lack that time.
ඒ වෙලාව මෙතන නැහැ. පහුගිය කාලේ
The political awareness of the people of our country has been instrumental in developing their political understanding as well in recent times. It is due to the use of social media. It has become a headache for the government, and therefore the government have now resorted to suppress it.
ආණ්ඩුවට මේක මර්ධනය කිරීම සඳහා උවමනාවක් තිබෙනවා.
සමාජ මාධ්‍ය
We all agree that accurate news must be published on social media, but we are against fake news published on it as well. This has been approved in 120 countries. Therefore, the ones who say and reveal the truth will not be afraid of this. The report by the committee stage was presented briefly in this way. Anyone can present it in any way they want. After it was presented, its amendments have been tabled. 3 members of the opposition joined yesterday, and these reports were handed over to them. It was said that there is no need to talk about this one by one. This report was presented according to the Standing Order 57 and 58. When the Sectoral Oversight Committee presented this, we have to consider it as a report. We cannot ask the committee to present another report. The general procedure of passing a bill has been followed. So, let's move forward with this.
සාමාන්‍ය පනතක් සම්බන්ධ කරන ආකාරයේ ක්‍රියාදාමයේ අනුගමනය කළ යුතු නිසා මේක අපි ඉදිරියට යමු.
It was decided to take a vote on whether the bill should be debated in the parliament today or not. Accordingly, 83 MPs voted for the draft to be debated and 50 MPs voted against it. Minister of Public Security, who began the debate, later said that it will be submitted to the cabinet after passing the proposed amendments.
මම ඒගොල්ලන්ට පොරොන්දුවක් දීලා තියෙන්නේ
I have made a promise to them that after this bill is presented today with the proposals given by the Supreme Court and after the voting is over tomorrow, I will present all those new proposals to the next cabinet and it will be gazetted after submission. After that, I don't think anyone will go to the Supreme Court for those proposals because all the parties have agreed on it. Following which, I talked about bringing this bill as amendments and everyone has agreed to it. With this bill, we are covering the communication of false statements in a way that causes rebellion, child abuse, violence against women, and harm towards religion and coexistence. Taking action on the threat to national security, law and order, and creating religious and cultural conflicts through false statements. We have brought this bill not to block social media, as some people say, and I don't think we want to do anything to our political opponents. All these things are done to save the women and children of our country.
මේ සියලු දේ කරන්නේ අපේ රටේ කාන්තාවන් ළමයින් බේරගන්න.
The literacy level of the government members in this house is zero. That's what it means. Unfortunately, the honourable member who is presiding now also voted for it. A literacy level that is zero. The whole country must know this. Piece of paper that says a report will be submitted by the chairman is considered to be the report. Now, all that we, the opposition, wanted was that the minister himself appointed an expert committee. After the gazetting, after the challenge in the Supreme Court, after the determination of the Supreme Court, he went and appointed a committee. That committee made some recommendations. Yesterday at the Sectoral Oversight Committee, apparently both the government members and the opposition members agreed that that must be incorporated. So why don't you incorporate that? The Attorney General has said...
Remember, you have 2 more minutes.
Thank you. The Attorney General has said that cannot be done because Article 78(3), there is a bar, it changes the nature of the bill. Then what do you have to do? You have to withdraw the bill. You have to re-gazette it according to the consensus that has been reached by both sides, that the recommendations of the experts must be incorporated, and then have the bill passed without a division. Once a consensus has been reached also at the Sectoral Oversight Committee, the government is bulldozing this defective bill today. The minister conceded at the party leaders meeting that this is defective. He is giving an assurance that he will bring amendments to this. So then why pass it? The minister giving that assurance itself is confirming the fact that this is a defective bill that is dividing this house. Why is he giving that assurance? So therefore, I am not going into the merits of this bill because the whole process is flawed.
අපි කිසිම මොහොතක මේ පනත් සම්බන්ධයෙන්
There is no need for us to comment on this bill at any time or to criticize politicians in particular. Honorable Chairman, if someone says there is a lot of prejudice in some places through these matters, obviously after going to the Supreme Court and making a promise in some way, we are not able to change it as the legislature wants. Therefore, there is nothing to oppose about because we will not change any kind of amendment.
කිසිම ආකාරයේ සංශෝධනයක් අපි විනාශ කිරීමක් සැකසංකාවක් තියාගන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ විපක්ෂය.
අද උදේ මතුවෙච්ච වැදගත් ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා.
There is an important question that came up this morning. He made a statement that the Asia Internet Coalition approved the bill that was tabled for today. I think it is very important to correct this because there is room for the AIC to replace it. So it is very good for him to say whether the AIC has agreed to this.
එතුමා ප්‍රකාශ කරන එක ඉතාම හොඳයි.
මම මගේ කතාවේදී තේරුම් කරලා කිව්වා AIC එක්ක අපි එකඟ වෙච්ච
I explained in my speech that I will bring all the points we agreed with the AIC to the cabinet and pass them. This bill and the recommendations given by the Supreme Court are what have been tabled for today. We have not talked to the AIC about it, but after talking with the AIC, we have agreed on some points. I am bringing it forward as amendments.
ඒක මම මේකට amendments හැටියට කලින් මේ ඉදිරියට ගේනවා.
ගරු රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමා මට හොඳට
I remember once Ranil Wickremesinghe went to the Lipton circus and shouted openly to oppose the banning of Facebook by the Rajapaksas. Today, that person becomes the president and works thinking that he can completely cover this communication space.
සම්පූර්ණම තමන්ගේ රටේ තියෙන පොල් කට්ටෙන් වහන්න පුළුවන් කියලා හිතලා වැඩ කරනවා. මේක එතුමා කරාට අපි ඔක්කොටම විශාල ලැජ්ජාවක්. මේක නියාමනය වෙන්න ඕන. හැබැයි මේක නියාමනය වෙන්න කියලා ගරු සභාපතිතුමනි නිදිකුම්බ ගහක් ගලවන්න බුල්ඩෝසරයක් දාලා තියෙන්නේ. මම ආයි කියනවා නිදිකුම්බ ගහක් ගලවන්න බුල්ඩෝසරයක් දාලා ලොකු වලක් හදමින් යන්නේ. හෙට මේ පනත කල් දාන්න හෙට ඡන්දය ගන්න.
Don't take the vote tomorrow. Postpone it. Let's debate about this in the parliament since it is an important issue. Let's postpone the third reading and discuss about this in the next parliament session.
කරමින් මගේ වචන ස්වල්පේ නිමා කරන බොහොම ස්තුතියි.